Okay, good evening. It's actually 8:06. I normally start at 8 o'clock promptly, but I had some connectivity issues, and as such, we're off to a little bit of a late start. I wish I would have been connected on my computer. Instead, I'm connected on my cell phone. Anyway, welcome to another in the series Master Your Life. And this week, I am actually talking about an issue which I believe concerns everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean every single person on this earth will be affected by what every other person does in some sort of way. So, here is what I want to speak about today. I want to speak about us choosing the life we desire, or put another way, choosing the future we desire. And why it is that it is important for me to have this conversation is because what it is that we do today will determine tomorrow. Yeah? What it is we do today will determine tomorrow. And I'm particularly concerned because as a man, yes, I was once a boy. And for the most part, I can say for sure that I would have had good enough guidance growing up as a boy. And the shaping is what determined who I became. It is what helped to determine who I became today. So that's one of the reasons why I want to have this conversation. I'm particularly concerned because if you look around, we have what we consider somewhat of a dysfunctional society. And I'm speaking in the context of a Jamaica in specific terms now, right? So whatever it is that I'm going to be talking about is not necessarily specific to Jamaica, but I'm having this discussion around Jamaica. So here is where I want to start. Let us start where we are. When we look on the roads, for example, and we see the drivers, many of whom are persons who had gone to school for the most part. If you think about it, most of these persons would have gone to school, most of them. And we see a lot of bad driving by probably a few persons. That's an example. We see how some people go about carrying themselves on the roads as pedestrians. They're crossing the road and they're not supposed to cross, but they decide they want to cross. We could think about many other situations where we could see some sort of dysfunction. No, that is what we have today. Now, I'm here to say that which we see today is certainly not a product of what happened yesterday. It's a product of what happened years ago. So here is what I am proposing that we should do. We should be proactive rather than reactive. So here's a story I want to share. I was walking through one of those stores. It was Pavilion. Yes, it wasn't a store, like a shopping center. And I heard two boys, one in particular, made certain comments. So I saw this woman, and she was going about her business, walking with who I believe might be her companion or partner, boyfriend. I'm not so sure. But she was skimpily dressed, to put it nicely. And the boy looked at her and said, "Whoa, yo, dog, look on that dot of the star." And when he said that, I looked at him and I looked at his gesticulation, and his brethren said something to him, and I was like, okay, these are boys in school uniform and they are just behaving like that openly. And then he proceeded to tell his friend what he would have done if it was his girl and somebody was walking and looked at his girl. And I listened, and he proceeded to say, boy, oh, if a man ever look on my girl and me walk, you know what I go just rush him and box him and beat him up. And I felt compelled to go over to him and say, brethren, I'm not so sure if I heard what you said a while ago. tell me what you said a while ago. And he repeated it. And then I said, brethren, honestly, I don't think you would do that. You wouldn't do that. And he said, yeah, man. I said, no, really and truly, would you do that? And I think at that moment he recognized that I was suggesting that in a very strong way, perhaps he wouldn't do that. And I said, no, you'd be a madman to do something like that, because were you going to walk and beat up everybody who look on your girl? And he laughed. And I said, brethren, you must watch your words, because your words are powerful. And if you continue to say these things to yourself and believe and believe and believe, one day you're going to become that very person. And he stood and he listened to me and he said, boss man, say a true you talk, elder. And then he proceeded to say something which was very profound in my view. He said, he saw the elder them to talk to, That's what he said, whether or not he meant it. And I honestly think he meant it. And what that did for me was to remind me that, children need guidance. And that is really what I want to talk about today. Children need guidance, because the adults we see today are a result, at least partly, as they're a result of perhaps not having the best guidance. Okay? So that's really where I'm going with this reasoning conversation. So a few points I want to make so far is that I'm not here to fix a problem. That's one. But if I do nothing about this problem, I am a part of the problem. And in the context of the conversation that we're having, where we're talking about master your life, mastering your life should not be only about your life. Because if you think about it, if you master your life alone and you leave out everybody else, one of those dysfunctional, so to speak, boys, members of society, are the ones who are going to probably make your life not one that you absolutely enjoyed, albeit you have been mastering your life, so to speak. So for me, mastering your life involves helping others to master their life. And that is really why I'm here. And this is a view that I hold strongly to, because if we just give a little guidance to those who need it, and if you think about it, if parents were to have children and just leave them alone, they would just grow anyway, anyhow. Yes? Anyway, anyhow. And we are here to be proactive by changing that, because I'm not here to fix the problems when somebody go to jail or somebody go to prison. I'm not working at that end. I'm not interested in that end. I'm not interested in being reactive. I'm interested in being proactive. So what am I suggesting that we could do? Well, here's one suggestion. In mastering your life and deciding on the future that you would love, how about thinking about it like this? Most persons we see in society today were once in school. So if it is that you currently have a child in a school, don't just look out for your child alone. And you have to be very purposeful about this. And I mean it like this. So when you think about your class, your child's class, and perhaps in particular, a wayward boy that you might find in that class, instead of extending just one hand, which is to your child alone, extend both of your hands to another child. And if every person who have a child in a school who would seriously take care of his or her child would do something like that, I believe we would end up with less of the behavior that we are seeing today. Let's do an experiment. Try it. Well, I've decided that I would try it. I've entered into that experiment. Because the truth is, sometimes what a man really just wants is just a little guidance. And I have a theory that whether or not we like it, our children could become brainwashed. So here's what I'm thinking. Might as well you do the brainwashing. And I'm hoping I'm speaking to the person who is positive, yes, and positively brainwash that child. Yeah, man, that would make sense. So what we have many children who are brainwashed, who have been taught to do what I'm going to suggest now is very much lacking in some instances. Many children were not taught how to vision. Many children are not taught how to think beyond today. They were not taught to think beyond what they're seeing around them now as their circumstances. They're not taught how to see 20 years down the line. Yes? And that's a part of the problem. So, recently I learned about, for example, some students who were not particularly interested in results. And by that I mean they have a zero attitude, so they probably go to school and they really don't care about the grades. School is really just like a pastime. And this zero attitude really means that, okay, so if I don't do my work, I'll get a zero and I can live with it. But the truth is, this person really can't live with it, because how are they going to fit in society? And these are the same persons who will turn around and be a nuisance to you and I in our pursuit to, so to speak, master our life, which is really trying to live out our dreams in all the domains of our life, whether it is in our relationships, our health, our vocation, or our time and money management. It really matters if we take some step in helping these individuals to start to vision, start to dream for themselves. And I strongly believe that that is a big part of what is happening in Jamaica. So if you're just joining, my usual connection, we got a little bit started late. Yes, I had some connectivity issues. So I'm not connected to my computer as I'd prefer to. Instead, I am connected with my cell phone. Nonetheless, we are connected. Yes? The conditions probably are not as best as I would love it. But guess what? I'm here and you're here. Okay? So, I really want us to think about what it is that I'm suggesting. Here's one of the reasons why it's very important. And I'm talking mostly about boys now. I'm a male, I can only talk about it from a male perspective for the most part. One of the things that I have observed, many of our teachers are females. So the boys are having more of a female dominant interaction at school. And you and I know, if you live in Jamaica long enough or you know about Jamaica, is that many of the boys, yes, in particular, don't have that male dominant influence. Now, let's do the maths. A boy wakes up in the morning in a home that is predominantly female. So his mother, guardian, more than likely his mother, makes breakfast, sends him off to school. He goes to school. He might end up at a co-ed school or an all-boys school. But whatever the case is, for the most part, he now is primarily influenced by a female teacher. He goes back home and the cycle continues. So I'm here to suggest that boys, for the most part, would become better men if they were taught how to be men by men. Yes, women are doing a good job. Yes, they have raised several good men. So the challenge really is that we need to have more male influence. Now, if it is that a particular father is absent, well, I understand that is the situation, which is why I'm just putting this out to say that in a school, if you are that father who really supports your son, yes, in that particular school, instead of just extending your support to just your son, how about extending both arms, one arm to another son? somebody who probably don't have that male influence. And I believe that if we were to work with this formula, yes, if everyone were to just take on just one more person, we would have less of what we're seeing today in Jamaica. And it really doesn't matter, boy or girl. But as I said, for this conversation, I am looking at it from the context of boys. Again, primetime news just tonight, right here in Jamaica, we're speaking about some terrible driving along Red Hills Road. Many of those drivers are males. I put it to you, there were once in schools. Yes? If these persons were guided, for the most part, in a purposeful way, probably they wouldn't be doing that. No, I'm not saying that they wouldn't, because that's a choice, but probably they wouldn't be doing that. So this is me just having a reason of sorts, probably call it with myself. But I want to be a part of the solution. And I'm encouraging you to share this video. And I would encourage you to help me and be a part of the solution however you can. Just reach out to that one boy. He's not wayward yet, and we don't want to make him wayward. That's the point at which you want to intervene in the process. Yes? As I said, I'm not particularly interested to try fix it at the other end where, yeah, it gone bad already, so to speak. Somebody else can deal with that. I'm not interested in that, because children learn from what they see around them, and if they don't have guidance, they become anything. It's like a ship on the ocean, or a vessel, a boat, whatever you want to call it. If that ship has no sailor or no pilot, wherever the wind takes that ship, it will go. It is said that the wind is what is going to take this person wherever the wind goes, if this person don't have a sailor or a driver. So I am proposing that if we see ourselves as sailors, taking charge of that vessel, even if that vessel is not yours, I believe we can get some order on this sea of life, on this ocean of life. Perhaps we will have fewer bad driving type taxi persons on the road, most of them men, so I guess I can just say taxi men, because it matters. You want to live in a country where you want to really live the way you want to live. You won't be permitted to do that, because you have some thugs. They're not really thugs, they became thugs. They were once students, they were once in school, but just out of choices and perhaps lack of guidance, lack of visioning on that ocean, they ended up wayward. So my task, my challenge for anybody watching this, and I really encourage you to share this video. My challenge to anybody watching this, especially men. Especially men. If you have a son at a school, and I know you care about your son at that school, we know we have some sons there who probably don't have that male figure influence. How about extending both your arms to one other person other than your son? And it's just the same way. If you have two sons, extend yourself to just another one. And if everybody, so in a class, let us say we have 30 students in a class. Let us say we have 30 students in a class. And just some basic maths. Let us say it's only 5 fathers show up. If those 5 fathers take care of one other person, you see, we raise the number. So instead of 5 boys being taken care of, because probably the ratio is going to be about, I don't know, 12 girls and 8 boys. Probably all the boys will be taken care of. Just a simple maths. So it is something that I'd love for you to undertake. So Here is why this matters to everybody watching and anybody who will watch this. We're living in a world, we're living in a social space. You can say, yeah, I'm not really business about this. This is not my business. And look, make them go and grow how they want to grow. But remember, we're not at the back end of it. We're at the front end. So we have seedlings working with that you can nourish, nurture, channel, guide. Yes? Wouldn't you rather work with some kindergarten students rather than some hardened criminals? Like I said, I'm not interested in working with hardened criminals. And this is why it makes sense. Work with the seedlings. Work with the kindergartens. Help them learn how to vision. Because probably they don't have that figure to help them to do that. And the life that you want to live, whether you're a woman, it's going to matter to you because guess what? It means that you're going to have fewer men to choose from. Yes? Some of them going to turn worthless. So you have fewer men to choose from. That is from the woman's perspective. This is how it's going to affect you as a woman. How is it going to affect you as a man? Well, probably that same man come rob you. I don't know. Yeah? Him really is a nuisance to society. If you're a girl going to school right now, and for some reason you come by seeing this, it matters because this boy you're going to interact with at school. And if he's not learning how to think beyond today and vision, it means that his relationship with you by just basic interaction in class might be one that is not so fruitful. And if you're not a boy and you wish to be in school and just have a peaceful life, just because you have that one wayward one, him going to make your life miserable too. So this is something that really concerns every single person. And there's a saying that there's no substitute for experience. It is true. So you might be thinking that, yeah man, I'm not really worry about them things there because them things don't really going to affect me. You never know. So until something is probably on your doorstep, it don't become important. And this is why my charge is that we ought to be proactive in deciding or choosing the future we want. So ask yourself this question. What kind of Jamaica you want to live in? We are the ones who are going to decide that, Are we going to allow few persons to decide that for us? Start with the seedlings. Start with the young ones. Start with the infants. Steer them where you want them to go. Brainwash them. Positively, that is. Yeah? And help them to achieve the vision that you would love for them to achieve. And in essence, that I believe could help you master your own life. So, we have come to the end of this. Another week in mastering your life. Yeah? Master your life. And this, for me, this week was kind of, it's like a little deviation from the sort of content that I share. But I thought it was very important that I bring up this topic because, like I said, the future that you choosing to live is dependent on who is within your space. Yes? It's dependent on who is in your space. Now, if I can decide where I live, I will. If I can decide who I live amongst, I will. And a part of that is that we have to help shape the minds of those among who we live. Now, the fact is, you live in Jamaica. I might say, well, I don't live where them live, but I'm still in Jamaica. And they can be a nuisance to you in some sort of way. So, here's to another in the series, Master Your Life. Until another, which is next week, Monday, at the same time, I want to encourage you to share this video. Share it with your female friends. Share it with your male friends. Yes? And let's get this conversation in a proactive manner happening. And I mean not just conversation, but doing. Just be deliberate about it. Say, yeah man, it making some sense. And I'm going to go to my teacher class and say, yeah man, I want to go talk to the boy them about, how them can be the best version of who they are. And just 10 minutes, you might change one boy's life. As I said, I'm particularly focusing on boy. I'm a man. Yeah, I have a concern about that. I thought about it and I say, And this is me in closing, and probably it's a little broader. And this is why it's important. Now think about it. One of the roles of a man is to protect. The police force, for example, in my mind, perhaps should be predominantly men, because men generally are bigger, more agile, stronger, and all of that. But can you imagine that we could have a situation where we have more females in the police force? It's possible. That could be a day. And you might say, so where would all the men go? Well, you and I know. Men these days, some, not all, not most, but some, they're not so ambitious. Put it mildly. They're not so ambitious. So we really have to start early with the kindergartens. Teach them how to vision. Teach them how important it is to be the best version of themselves. And that is really what this call, this talk, this reasoning is about. And I'm asking you again, please share this video. I'm Winroy Williams, your dream builder and life mastery coach. And until next week, I want you to take care and tune in again at the same time next week, 8 p.m., Monday night. And I apologize for those persons who would have expected to for me to be on Instagram. It is such that I had some technical issues, connectivity issues. So instead of having two devices working with, I'm just working with one, which is my phone at the moment. Normally I work with my phone and my laptop. So I was only able to share with those of you on Facebook. So until next week, thank you very much for tuning in. Please share this video. That is really where we want action in the very first instance. Share this video. If it gets out to as many persons as possible, then they can take the action that I'm asking for them to take. And I'd encourage you to take that simple action as well, whoever you are. Thank you very much. Until next week, take care.